Facebook, YouTube, whoever it may be. Oh, I always have a hard time focusing when I take my glasses off, but I can't wear my glasses in the video for the glare off the lenses. But anyway, Average Joe Daniel here. This week's 5 and 5. We're going to have to extend the time or something because I'm having to blaze through these. Still not getting it, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Anyways, number 1, context is important when studying your Bible. Number 2, some verses can stand alone. You don't necessarily need additional context. Number 3, we always petition the Holy Spirit for guidance when reading our Bible. Number 4, we're going to stick with wisdom at least one more week here. And number 5, James 3:17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. So what this indicates here, in particular if you read the verses preceding this passage, context, is that there's a difference between earthly wisdom and heavenly wisdom. So if we go back to when we first started talking about wisdom, we'll remember we defined it as the ability to discern or judge what is true, right, or lasting. So now we can take this a step further for today, and it can also be described as a wisdom which belongs to men, as in the knowledge of things human and an aspect of divine, but acquired by acuteness and experience. So there's an earthly vibe, if you will, regarding wisdom there. Then we have another definition which describes it as the knowledge and practice of the requisites for godly and upright living, supreme intelligence such as belonging to God. So we've got one that's got to focus on the mind of God, and we've got one that's got to focus on the experience of man. So here we have our earthly and our heavenly, and the confrontation between the two, or the conflict between the two, because our flesh and our spirit are always in conflict, right? Well, I won't say always, but they're definitely often in conflict. So as Christians, clearly we should desire and pursue godly wisdom. So what does that look like? Well, James 3:17 tells us that. So we'll go back to it. First, it's pure, which means it's clean and without fault. It's not mixed with anything else. It's completely from God. Then it's peaceable. It's free from argument or conflict. Simple enough. So we could stop right there because that's a lot already. So heavenly wisdom is without fault and completely from God. It is never about us or what we know. See the big difference that right in the beginning, right at the beginning of the description of heavenly wisdom, we see how it conflicts with earthly wisdom. Secondly, it's free from argument. So when we're trying to share our wisdom and what we know, or we're trying to share that with others, if that conversation is confrontational, then we're not sharing godly wisdom, because our actions will always speak louder than our words. And if we're confrontational, we're not demonstrating a godly wisdom, and our body language is going to communicate a lot stronger than what we actually say, the words we're actually saying. All right, let's keep going here. It's gentle. It's tender and loving. It's never harsh or abrasive. It's easy to be entreated. All right, this means it's easy to be asked of something. People aren't nervous to ask you a question because your response is always peaceful and gentle. If you respond with harshly or with a scowl, if you're just unpleasant, then they're not going to ask you anything. That's not godly wisdom. It's full of mercy. It shows compassion and forgiveness to those whom you have authority over, regardless of what they may have done against you. It's full of good fruits. Just like you are what you eat, you are who you are. And a good place to start understanding what good fruits are is with the fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22-23. I'm not going to get into that today, but I will spit them out at you real quick here. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. There you go. There's a good place to start if you're interested in the fruits of the Spirit and living in a way that demonstrates good fruits. It is without partiality. no bias or favoritism, and it is without hypocrisy. That's a big one, right? At least for the world in their argument against Christianity, it is. So we got to practice what we preach. We can't be guilty of saying one thing but doing another. Now, this doesn't mean that we claim we are above mistake or sin or falling short or doing wrong. It doesn't mean that. It just means that our pursuit is godly. It just means our goal is godly wisdom as it pertains specifically to what we're talking about today. And whatever we're pursuing, there will be evidence of it in our life. You have to understand that. It's something I try to really instill in some of my little boys who were having some character issues with. They say they want to do better, and we try to explain to them that that's fine, but that there must be evidence of actually doing better. Otherwise, you just want to do better, and that's just not quite enough, guys. You got to actually pursue it. There should be evidence of it. So, with that said, stay salty.